All right. Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks for joining us today for this webinar where we are going to talk about our Build Better Careers program, our partnership with CAEL, and the opportunity for schools in the DMV to participate in this program and be able to get support, to be able to provide work-based learning opportunities to learners. So very excited to have you all joining us here today. My name is Josh Mitchell. I am VP of Academic Partnerships at Riipen. I'm joined by my colleague, Eleanor Buxton, who's our Senior Manager of Solutions Architecture and works very closely with the CAEL team on this program. So I'm going to kick us off here today, talk a little bit high level about Riipen and who we are and what we do. Eleanor is then going to speak specifically about our Build Better Careers program. And then I will finish us up by showing some highlights of what that looks like in practice. Some of what our partners that are already participating in this program are doing, how the Riipen platform works, and then we will take any questions if there are any here at the end, and we will wrap for today. So we'll dive right in here. If you're not familiar with Riipen, we have been doing this kind of work for a decade, and really where we started, our co-founders really looked at the challenge of how do you get experience without a job, but how do you get a job without experience, and what that then creates for those that don't solve that conundrum is often underemployment. And I'm going to touch on some statistics that speak to the persistence of that problem here in a moment. But that really is our mission at Riipen, is to solve underemployment. To be able to provide a way in which to get students at scale experience so that they don't fall into the cycle of underemployment. And underemployment, if you're not familiar with some of the statistics, really is a persistent problem that is a cycle that when students begin, or when graduates begin their careers underemployed, they often stay that way at very high percentages. This data that you're looking at is from about a year ago now. Strata and Burning Glass released the Talent Disrupted report, which, if you're not familiar, is an excellent read. And this shows a very high level of underemployment for graduates of four-year programs in the US. And what you can see here is that those that begin their career underemployed, which is at a clip of 52%, remain so 10 years later. So 73% of graduates who started their career underemployed remained so 10 years later. So really this problem of getting experience to be able to then get employment that is utilizing the degree that a student earns is really critical to their remaining or to avoiding the underemployment problem for not only their immediate career, but for the long term. Some additional data from this report really just shows that this is a more pervasive problem for students that come from low-income backgrounds, for students that come from less selective schools. This is not surprising. Students that come from more affluent backgrounds, that go to more exclusive schools, tend to have better social connections, more opportunities to get internships and get experience. And so, as you would expect, those that do not have those advantages tend to be underemployed at higher rates. One of the findings from that Talent Disrupted report is that internships are a solution. Obviously, getting experience by way of an internship is really the goal. The problem with internships is that there is not an adequate supply of them. So this is some data from a different report. This is last fall. The Business Higher Education Forum released a report with some data that showed a massive gap in the demand for internships versus the supply. The demand being 8.2 million students looking for an internship, only 3.6 million were able to get them. And of those, they defined internships as being quality. I won't get into the details of how they did that, but only 2.5 million were quality internships. So a very large gap here in the availability of internships that will then give students that experience they need to avoid that cycle of underemployment we just talked about. Just some additional data here. Again, same theme, that students from two-year schools less likely to get an internship when they want one than students from four-year schools. Same in terms of socioeconomics and race, where those from minority backgrounds are less likely to get an internship than those that are from higher socioeconomic backgrounds, things of that nature. So same ideas in terms of availability and access that we were touching on in the Burning Glass and Strata data. So where Riipen then comes at this is that internships alone not going to solve this problem, not going to lead to solving the problem of underemployment. So we need other ways to get students experience that are more scalable, that are more flexible. That is what our approach is all about. The Riipen model is a project-based one. And Eleanor is going to talk about some examples of how our schools use us, specifically how some schools that are participating in Build Better Careers use Riipen. But all of the work that we do is project-based. That manifests itself then in a variety of different use cases. But the core of what we do is it's a real project with a real company where students are working either individually or in teams, but getting an authentic experience, getting feedback from the company, something tangible they can put on their resume at the end. That's what the Riipen model is all about. And you can see on this slide the scale at which we have been working. So we are approaching 300,000 student experiences on our platform over the last 7-ish years that our current platform has been in market. We've worked with hundreds of institutions. You see a bunch of the logos here on the screen. One of the primary ways in which we've been able to start to achieve scale is by having a large marketplace of employer partners. Many of our clients, that is where they start with Riipen, is really they need access to net new companies and employers in order to provide these kinds of project-based experiences. So we set out to and have built a very large, the largest in the world, marketplace of industry partners to provide these project-based opportunities. So that is in excess of 44,000, as you see on this screen. Really, the basics of how Riipen works. There is the marketplace, as I just mentioned. Matching is really central to what our platform is all about, aligning the requirements that a particular program or course has with projects that meet those requirements and companies that meet those requirements. And we're going to show you some of how that works here as we go. Then once that matching is done, giving our educators and our partners tools to really oversee those collaborations, to make sure that students are engaging successfully and having a successful collaboration with their industry partner, be able to collect data and make sure that we're able to capture outcomes as these projects are happening. That's really what the collaboration and project management tools facilitate. And then finally, taking all of that data and being able to report on it. What outcomes are we achieving? Are we moving the needle on the goals that our partners have? That is a big part of what we do as well, is providing tools to collect and report on outcome and impact data. And Eleanor is going to touch on some of that as well. So with that, I'm going to turn the mic over here to Eleanor, who's going to talk about the Build Better Careers program and walk you through some of the ways in which we work with schools and some of the outcomes we're finding. So Eleanor, over to you.
Wonderful. Thanks, Josh. So as part of my work at Riipen, I lead our partnership with CAEL and the Build Better Careers program. So CAEL is the Council of Adult and Experiential Learning. It's a national nonprofit membership organization, really supporting the creation of education to career pathways for economic mobility and community prosperity. So their program, the Build Better Careers program, is funded by the Truist Foundation and was launched really to strengthen career pathways to jobs that we know will lead to increased economic mobility. And so the program is really about connecting and engaging industry leaders, workforce development partners, and post-secondary institutions to collaborate on meeting the needs of two groups. So firstly, it's people who are seeking employment or are seeking better employment. And secondly, employers who need to recruit, who need to retain talent, and are looking to upskill and advance their existing employees. The initiative focuses on cities and regions where in-demand jobs remain unfilled and where greater collaboration can strengthen these career pathways. And so existing programming has been launched in Memphis, Charlotte, and Miami. And Build Better Careers is now expanding to include the DMV, which is the DC, Maryland, and Virginia region. So for institutions like yourself taking part in the Build Better Careers program, participating institutions receive, firstly, fully subsidized access to the Riipen platform to support pilot work-based learning programs. So as Josh outlined, this includes employer sourcing via our project marketplace, all of the project matching and the project collaboration tools, and the reporting and the impact measurement frameworks as well. As CAEL members, participants complete the Adult Learner 360 assessment. This is an assessment of your institution's effectiveness in serving adult learners, whilst also supporting you to chart a clear path forward with a long-term strategy for continuous improvement in that area. And then as program participants, so any of your educators or faculty or students who are taking part in projects on the Riipen platform through Build Better Careers have access to a really neat career readiness tool supporting you to explore career pathways and find transferable skills that match up to in-demand jobs. And so Josh will walk you through what the Riipen platform looks like in action in just 1 minute. But on the left here, you're seeing where a lot of our partners do start their partnership with Riipen, which is course embedded work integrated learning. And this program really provides flexibility to deliver that, but also to deliver a range of other types of work-based learning experiences that really will align with your institutional goals and the student learning priorities for your learner population. And so here are some of the different ways that our clients use Riipen, and all of these could be a part of this pilot for you. So on the left here, you do have that course embedded model where experiential learning becomes part of the classroom experience for students embedded within a specific course. But also, as we move across here, you will see there are lots of other flavors of this. So secondly, you have stacking certificate programs. So folks are completing a certificate program, and then we're stacking that with an aligned employer project. So this provides a really quick kind of translation from newly acquired skills into project delivery with that real employer partner. In the middle there, you have a credit-bearing internship model where we have specific courses which are offering learners the opportunity to work on an industry project that's connected to their program of study. And then on the right-hand side there, you'll have various approaches to co-curricular or extracurricular engagements that, for example, might be run through student clubs or other connective groups of students on your campus. And so there's a broad range of program opportunities, and we're excited to kind of dive in with you and explore where this could be a fit for your students. And here you can see just the 4 of the most recent Build Better Career experiences on the Riipen platform, range from Florida International University, the University of Memphis, and UNC Charlotte. And these are just a range of the types of courses and the types of discipline areas that our partners have been using this program for. A really wide variety from data on the left here and product design, through thinking about AI readiness and supporting businesses to be AI ready, and then including very technical programs like technical writing there with that FAU experience as well. And so we're already seeing really wonderful results from the first year of this program having student experiences through Riipen. And here is just a snapshot of, again, as Joss mentioned, these are all data points through our surveying feature that we're collecting on the Riipen platform. And so after completing their employer projects, learners participating in the Build Better Careers program, 96% of those learners are feeling like they've had the opportunity to both practice and expand on the skills they learned in the classroom by applying those in a real-world application. 84% are feeling confident this experience will translate into that increased earning potential, moving them towards kind of the end of underemployment. And 83% are feeling that they're better equipped to reach their career goals, whatever that might be for them. But as a result of working on this employer project, developing those durable skills, this project is setting them up to move towards their career goals. And now I want to take a moment to look at some of the wonderful outcomes data from our flagship student program in Canada. So the Level Up program, it's a federally funded program. And through the program, students complete a 60-hour paid micro internship. And over the past 4 years, we've delivered over 30,000 of these student experiences to students from across the country. And what we're seeing here is, from collecting that program data in the months and years after the project completion, we're seeing that improving that employability through these project experiences really leads to positive employment outcomes down the line. And so we're seeing in this graph on the left here, 3/4 of the learners taking part in this program, when they're surveyed 6 months and a year down the line from their project, they're either receiving direct employment opportunities, so that's the opportunity to continue working with their employer partner that they collaborated with during the program, or indirect employment offers during that collaboration. And so, Josh, could you take us back to the slides?
I'm not sure what I did there. Give me a second.
All good. Thank you. So what we're really seeing here is that students are leveraging these experiences, whether that's directly through expanding their networks in the moment or having the story that they can tell from their project experience to translate that into an employment opportunity. And so we're really excited to be connecting with you all today to bring these types of opportunities to students on your campus. And I'm now going to pass it back to Josh to demo a little bit of what the platform looks like to bring these stories to life.
Awesome. Thank you, Eleanor. And I had swiped on my laptop there to get some dust off of it, and that made our presentation disappear. I don't know what happened, but anyway, we're back. So I'm going to show you some of the nuts and bolts of how Riipen works. So Eleanor spoke about the ways that some of our existing Build Better Careers partners are using Riipen, some of the outcomes that we are seeing already in this program, some of the other kinds of outcomes that we help other partners to really track and measure. All of that was indicative of the kinds of things that we can help track. And for each of our partners, their objectives tend to be different depending on where these experiences are slotted and how they're used. Sometimes they are more around career confidence and career preparedness, especially if they are earlier in an undergraduate program, for example. In other cases where they're at the end of a program, those employment outcomes, like Eleanor just showed from our Level Up program, are much more relevant. So it really depends again on, where are you using these kinds of work-based experiences? What are the objectives you're trying to achieve? But whatever those are, we can help capture data and be able to report on that in association with these experiences. So what you're looking at now, this is what our portal looks like for UNC Charlotte, who is a participant in the Build Better Careers program. Every platform, or every portal, I should say, on the Riipen platform is white labelable. So this is branded for our partner. And then the real nuts and bolts of what's happening is within these individual tiles. So each of these are courses, or actually at Charlotte, they also do some project-based internship courses. These are basically, in some cases interdisciplinary, in other cases individual projects, but internship for credit. Each of these are articulating the specific goals and objectives for doing a project in this course or in this program. They are basically serving as the call for projects in association with that course or program to attract good fit projects that are going to help students develop the kinds of goals and skills that the instructor or program coordinator has in mind, and also attract companies that are going to engage the way that our partners expect. So setting expectations for how often might you be expected to meet with a group of students, for example? What kinds of feedback requirements do you have, or inputs? Is there data that is needed for a particular experience? These pages are articulating those expectations and requirements to help facilitate finding good fit projects and well-engaged and well-prepared companies that are going to engage the way you want. So I'll just go into one of these to show you what this looks like. Here's one. This was a course embedded example, a data analysis and visualization course here that just finished up last week. This particular course was looking for 40 to 50 hour internship kinds of projects. You can see they articulate that here, and then also here they're saying 45 hours per learner, students working in teams of 2. The length and duration of these projects is up to each instructor or each program manager in terms of how does that fit. So that can range 45 hours is pretty typical. That's probably at the top of the bell curve. That can range from a 15-hour, very short-term project to in excess of 100 hours, in particular when they are capstones or project-based internships that might be 3 credits. Then we see, that 150-hour range being pretty common for those kinds of experiences. The size of the team is up to the instructor or program coordinator for how does that fit the learning objectives in the course. Those can be individual projects, they can be small teams, they can be teams that are 4 or 5. All of these are things that are completely configurable on Riipen. These blue bubbles here are skills. So we integrate with the Lightcast Open Skills Taxonomy. So when we are working with a partner to create this page, we are helping them to articulate what skills are learners learning and looking to apply. And that's part of what drives some of the matching is aligning skills in association with these experiences with those that are associated with projects. They are also then skills that students are able to get verified as having been demonstrated when they receive feedback. And I'll show you that here in a little bit. Some of the other things that are on this page are just examples of the kinds of projects that might fit what they are looking for their students to do. What kinds of deliverables and outcomes can a company expect? Any particular requirements. And again, these are those engagement expectations that an instructor might set. Things like in this particular case, they wanted students to be able to do a live presentation of their findings to a company. The company had, if they were going to be selected here, had to agree that yes, they would facilitate being able to do that. There might be some relevant information or data they were looking for as well. These could also be things like, I want you to meet with my students every 2 weeks over Zoom during the course of the semester. Whatever that looks like, whatever makes sense, those are part of what go into this page to, again, attract companies and projects that are going to be a good fit. One other thing I'll point out here is that there can be milestones that are created as part of this experience to keep students on track, to give them some structure for how they proceed through their project. This both serves to tell a company that's interested in matching here, what can I expect? What is the timing and cadence of when this project is going to happen so that it's eyes wide open for me? But then they are also the specific milestones and gates that students do work through when they begin their project. And I'm going to show you in a moment what that looks like in terms of how they complete their progress and how that appears to an instructor. But they serve that dual purpose. This ultimately is what goes out to the marketplace. I won't get into the nuts and bolts of matching here for our interest today, but this is where companies would review this page, say, I think I have a good fit project, I will submit it and hope to match. Ultimately, we do a lot of the support in that matching process to help queue up potential good fits to make this something that is not an undue burden on the instructor or the program coordinator to find those projects. But as we are identifying projects that look like a good fit, it ultimately is up to the partner to say, yes, indeed, this is a good fit. I'm going to go ahead and match with this. Or no, this is not quite right. Riipen team, go find me some more projects that are a little bit different. That's how the matching process works in practice. But the main point that I want to make is no projects are forced on you on Riipen. You are able to ultimately make the decision that, yes, this meets my requirements. I want to go ahead and match with this. And in this particular case, this instructor was looking for 3 projects and did match with 3. Once the matching is done, that's where those collaboration and project management tools come into play. And so what I've clicked here are these 3 projects in this course. What we can see now are the teams that were assigned, and here are those milestones that you just saw on the previous page. Those appear as columns here. And what I'm able to do as an instructor is I'm able to track along and see how are students progressing through these milestones. This one just wrapped up last week. These students have all completed. 2 of them have already received feedback. The other one, since this just wrapped up, will probably receive feedback here very soon. But what I'm able to do as the instructor is both see high level, are students on track? Are they completing what they want? But also get really granular and see, I'll go into this final submission one here. What did they actually do? If you are grading this experience, then this is basically your source of truth to give you both the actual deliverables that students have produced, but also the communication that they've had so that you can assess this in whatever way makes sense for you. So in this particular case, what we have here are a bunch of attachments that this group submitted to the company. They're also here now for this instructor. If he were to be grading this, he can assess these deliverables as part of assigning his grade. So that's really what you're able to do as an instructor while this is going on, is you get high-level flags. If this were in the middle of a course and somebody was behind, it would show here in red. You'd be able to dig in and see, are they not responding to communications, or is something, are they in need of my support, and be able to intervene. And then, as I said, also go in and see, as the work is being completed, what did they do, and assess it or offer assistance, whatever the case may be. At the end, I think I've referred to this as I've referred to this before, but one of the most important parts of doing this work is giving something to students that they can put on their resume, something tangible they can use. And so I've pulled up a profile of a student here at Charlotte that completed a project. So this is what her profile looks like. You can see she has her resume here. She has her LinkedIn linked here, which I'm going to come back to in a moment. But I'll go over here to the feedback she received. So she did a project with this website enhancement project with a company in Canada. The person at that company gave team feedback. That's what this is right here. And also gave an individual endorsement just to this particular learner. So this is real feedback from this real person at this company that she received. These blue bubbles are skills that this person at the company said this learner demonstrated. So these are now employer verified skills. And what she's able to do here is she does have her LinkedIn profile linked, as I said. I'll flip over here to her LinkedIn profile. And if I scroll down under certifications and licenses, here she has incorporated the certificate representing the skill endorsements that she's received from that feedback she got from that company. And if I were to click see credential here, this is what that looks like. So you can see those demonstrated skills are outlined here. The name of the person, their company is all on this certificate. So that's really what this is all about, is the student did a real project with the real company, got something tangible that she could put on her LinkedIn profile, which is going to make it more attractive to prospective employers than somebody that doesn't have that experience. She has skill endorsements. She has actual feedback from this company. That is, really the end goal of doing this kind of work is to help students amplify their profile and their employability in this way, so that we avoid that rut of underemployment that we spoke about before. So with that, I'm going to pull this back up just so that we have a QR code here. If you are interested to, I don't know why this is taking so long. There we go. If you are interested to speak one-to-one, talk about specific use cases you have in mind, see more examples of what we've been showing you so far here today, understand what the opportunity is. And I see a question that has come in here that I'll answer here real quickly in a moment. In terms of what does the program actually look like in terms of what it supports, we can have those conversations. What somebody is asking here is about, how essentially what the pilot opportunity represents, how many courses, how many students, how long will this cover? There's some flexibility there. We do have targets in each of the regions that are part of our CAEL program. It's not an uncapped opportunity, but we have room in this program for some new partners in the DMV. Some of our partners, just to tell you, like Memphis and FIU, they are doing a wide range of things with Riipen. Some of it is actually covered by the CAEL Build Better Careers partnership, and then some of it they are also budgeting for out of their budgets. So there's a real, we can be very flexible in how we partner and take advantage of this program, but it's a great opportunity to be able to pilot some things, do so at no cost. And so would love to follow up and talk with anybody that is interested in exploring how this could work. I think we've got contact information on one of these slides. Let me see. Maybe not. This is the end. But that QR code, which I'll go back to, will get you in touch with us. So if you're interested, I don't see any other questions coming in here, so we can wrap here in a moment. But if you're interested, please go ahead and scan this, get in touch, and we will look forward to speaking with you and discussing further. Eleanor, thanks for joining me here today, and we look forward to connecting with folks in the future. And thank you for your time and attending here this afternoon.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks, folks.
All right. Thanks all.